We've already learnt about the fact that some organisms are made of lots of cells, which we call these multicellular, and other organisms are just made of one cell, single-celled organisms, which we call unicellular. And this video we're going to look at more details about the unicellular organisms. So firstly, unicellular organisms, when we look at the 5 kingdoms, no plants are single-celled, and none of the animals are either. All of the Monera, which are bacteria, and all of the protists, they're all single-celled. And some of the fungi are as well. So being single-celled, that poses interesting challenges for that living thing, because all of the components need to fit just inside one cell. So everything that living thing needs to survive, it all needs to be right there in one cell, and the organism can't protect its cells by having a skin like animals do, and it's always exposed to the environment. So unicellular organisms have unique challenges to survive. But actually, what we've discovered in the last few hundred years is that unicellular organisms are way better at surviving than multicellular ones. And in particular, it's the bacteria that are the best at surviving. So the biggest thing to take away really from this video is that bacteria are everywhere on Earth. If we take one drop of fresh water, if it's come from rain or if it's in a river, one drop of fresh water contains about 1 million bacteria on average. One million individual bacteria cells, and every one of those is a different living organism. So we find bacteria absolutely everywhere on Earth. And if we think about the whole Earth in total, that's what this diagram here is showing. So on Earth, this is looking at the different living things and organizing them by how much they weigh. So the organism's mass on Earth in total. So overall we can see that plants have the biggest mass, which makes sense. There's whole forests that cover the Earth. So plants overall weigh 450 million tons. But then the next biggest group after plants is bacteria. So bacteria weigh 70 million tons overall. And then we can see the next group is fungi, and even all animals combined are only 2 million tons on Earth. So humans are a tiny fraction of the weight of living things compared to bacteria and plants. So even though we can't see bacteria, they take up a large amount of the mass of living things. And bacteria are really important for lots of different parts of ecosystems, and other single-celled organisms too. So looking up here, bacteria are found in the soil and in oceans. And like I said before, they're important parts of the ecosystem. Often they're the decomposers, and they break down dead material and they help to recycle material through the ecosystem. Even more bacteria are found inside our bodies and of animals and plants. And this is a big area of research at the moment, which is called gut health. So we're looking at the bacteria that live in our gut and how that impacts on our overall health and getting diseases. And we're realizing that actually having a healthy group of bacteria living inside us is really important for being healthy. Some other single-celled organisms are yeasts. These are actually fungi and not bacteria, but they're still single-celled. And obviously yeasts are important because they've let us develop bread. Because they eat sugar and they make carbon dioxide gas, which makes the bread rise as it's cooking. So bacteria and other single-celled organisms are really important, but they can also do damage to living things too. So unicellular organisms, they can cause disease too. And when a unicellular organism causes a disease, we call it a pathogen. These can be bacteria or fungi or viruses too. And viruses are a bit of a separate topic because technically they're not living. But they're still pathogens and they can cause disease. So overall, unicellular organisms, and particularly bacteria, are found everywhere, and they're a lot more common than we realise.